I don't think I have been as impressed by any other superhero animated series in the last 2 decades as I am with X-Men 97. And if you think too though that the show is peak, you have something to enhance the experience further. Yes, I am talking about the ongoing X-Men 97's Strike Flies, which is an Infinity series launched by Marvel to conduct a parallel storytelling alongside the events of the show's second season. This comic series, written by Steve Foxe with art by Marcio Fiorito, has done a wonderful job in filling in the gaps of the show narrative. See, it is only fair that the show cannot cover everything, and it is fun to see all that happens off screen. Nathan's coming of age, the fight against Apocalypse, and everything about this comic series seems perfectly suited for those watching the second season, and so far I have been really impressed by the published issues of this comic. In this video I will take you through a detailed run of X-Men 97 Strike Flies, so that you can better understand everything that has happened in the show so far. The Askani clan's rebellion against Apocalypse's forces in the future continues. The story opens up in the future timeline of 3960 AD, and Nathan Dayspring Summer seems to be a little under the weather. In order for you to have more context, let me tell you that the events here are after what we have seen in the show. So Nathan has met his parents in the future timeline, and he also had to send them back to their original timeline, even though that would mean that he goes back to his life without them. He misses his parents ever since he met them, and they had to leave to reach their own timeline. Moreover, the addition of an AI recovered from Apocalypse's ship has added to his victory, but as pointed out, the ship was merely another life form that Apocalypse tried to conquer. As Nathan is lost in his thoughts, Mother Askani comes up to him. She reminds him that the victory might have been hard-won, but it was nothing more than a temporary reprieve. Also, it is brought to our attention that something else seems to be bothering Nathan. It is not just about losing his parents all over again for the greater purpose, but something that apparently cannot be measured with processor upgrades and programs. It is the insane weight of responsibility that has now fallen on his shoulders. He has freed many from the tyranny and oppression of Apocalypse, and now these people need to know what comes next. Nathan is responsible for their well-being. Of course, this is what he was made for to begin with, so he must carry the burden. But the comfort of glory and victory is really short-lived. With time, Apocalypse's soldiers find this little rebel hideout, and they command that the false prophet must be revealed among them in order to avoid terrible punishment. Mother Askani is really worried because this means that they have to get to another outpost very fast before they come under attack. But there is something about Nathan here that I don't seem to recognize from the show. I mean, this really isn't the uncertain young man who doesn't know what he is supposed to do. Even his hard decision-making was filled with a dilemma, and now that seems to have changed. Meanwhile, Apocalypse's forces are relentless, and we see them harassing a helpless beggar whose legs have been amputated. It is pointed out to him that the price of insolence is utter annihilation, and I have to agree it is one hell of a dialogue. The helpless beggar pleads for mercy, but there isn't none to be had here. However, there is justice as someone appears to the beggar's rescue. It is the Askani's son as Nathan springs into action. He is not scared of Apocalypse's forces in the slightest, and he simply says that he should pick on somebody who can fight back. He disarms and overwhelms the soldiers of Apocalypse, and it is almost effortless from Nathan, who really seems far more superior than the henchman. His victory is celebrated by the people whose lives he has saved. Mother Askani is pleased with his prophecy-fulfilling action as well, but she would have liked a little heads up. But this Nathan is fine enough to work independently at times, and he points out that he did not want to lose the element of surprise. He wants it to be evident that Clan Askani stands against Apocalypse, but as someone else points out, their presence here wouldn't be a secret for long. Soon the entire wasteland will know that they are here. Not everyone is happy with Nathan's rebellious act, and as someone points out, this is followed by death, destruction, and punishment. Mother Askani is not impressed by such cowardice. She asks this man if his alternative is to meekly submit to Apocalypse. Nathan remains defiant and confident as ever and remarks that this is war, and Apocalypse is someone who fights with fear. Now, if the people are also scared of him, it only makes the job of Apocalypse easier. Of course, he wouldn't force anyone to follow him, but Nathan wouldn't stop his heroic fight against the mighty enemy. but they must continue to be on the move because being discovered by a powerful army of Apocalypse himself might not be so good for the Askani clan. The man from earlier, however, turns out to be a traitor to the cause. He goes up to Apocalypse's forces and he is not going to pledge himself to some doomed cause. He gives up the information about the Askani soldiers and Nathan, and he expects a reward in return. But this is Apocalypse's forces that we are talking about here, and the reward is being hacked to death. They plan to dispatch a full garrison to the last reported coordinates of Nathan and to conduct proper checks on all refugees in the area. The Askani clan and their rebellion have gone unpunished for too long, and now they intend to launch a tough crackdown. Of course, this will be easier planned than executed because the new Nathan is more than capable to deal with such threats. Also, let's not forget that Apocalypse isn't around in this timeline because he has gone back to fight the X-Men where they are the most vulnerable. The second issue continues the chaotic fight and takes it further. Mother Askani and her trusted men are preparing for the worst, and as they find a hideout, they request Mother Askani to come along. But she is like the captain of the ship who will only look out for herself once the others are safe. She asks them to escape and keeps the records of the clan so that their history is never wiped out. She promises to protect them for as long as she can and sends off the men to some safe hiding place. Meanwhile, Apocalypse's forces have now got a whiff of the Askani clan, and they demand a surrender in order for them to show any mercy, and if not, the dissenting people will face the wrath of their Lord and Savior, Apocalypse. After these warnings do not bring any answers, it is decided that the surface will be bombed heavily from the ships. The plan might be to obliterate any signs of the Askani, but the people have already found their way to safety, including the Wonder Boy Nathan, who is somewhere else, sitting by the fire and thinking about his parents, Jean Grey and Cyclops. As it turns out, he is actually dreaming about them, begging them not to leave, when he is woken up by someone. Yes, this is a really surprising twist, because I did not expect the techno-organic part of his body to show up. Even Nathan is surprised, but he is about to get some valuable guidance from this mysterious stranger. He is told about how strong he really is, and he is advised to not hold back the virus. I know it sounds weird given that the techno-organic virus nearly killed him back in the 90s timeline, and he had to be sent to the future. Apparently, this is a secret to unlocking greater powers, where Nathan can sense a stray thought telepathically across continents and extinguish a star telekinetically. His incredible potential is the reason behind Apocalypse seeking him out in the first place, and this is precisely why Mother Askani brought him here to oppose him. It is actually a dream sequence entirely, but the mysterious advisor tells him to know it in his heart how much he is really capable of. When Nathan wakes up, he tells one of the Askani men, Tetherblood, to wake up because it is time to move again. They zoom off in these cool space bikes, and soon Nathan finds an injured Mother Askani. Of course, he is visibly worried and panics, but Mother Askani tells him that her time is here and it is too late for her. Now, imagine that! This has been the closest thing to a motherly figure that Nathan has encountered in this timeline, and she is gone. It really is going to be a lonely journey from here on. For a moment, Nathan's resolve is weak and he wonders how he is supposed to stop Apocalypse without her support. But Mother Askani continues to believe in him, and she knows that he will be the one to defeat him. Apocalypse believes that survival wins the future, but he is wrong because according to her, it is understanding and compassion that makes life worth saving. It is all about the connections that we share and the bonds that we create. The parting words of Mother Askani are encouraging enough, but it still doesn't take away from the fact that Nathan now has to survive without a guiding figure. As she remarks in her final moments, it has to be him because he is the one who can endure it all. And then we have a crazy time jump where we see Nathan all grown up, prepared for the worst, and ready to handle the worst of what Apocalypse throws at him. For the third issue, the story jumps to a time not too long ago, and this time the place is Cairo, Egypt. There is a little search and raiding party looking for precious artifacts, and Unis the Untouchable is leading the mission with a couple of his men. It is revealed that Unis is under contract with the most prestigious auction house in Mandrapore, and whatever he recovers here has to be in pristine condition. Suddenly, one of his men step onto a trap and a bunch of sharp blades fall on them. However, Unis is unbothered, and it is almost like he expected a place like this to be booby-trapped. He simply asks his men to step wisely, and soon they walk into a chamber that almost looks haunted. He finds someone sitting before a fire, and this is the loyal priest of Apocalypse. The priest warns Unus that he is violating one of Lord Apocalypse's most sacred chambers, but Unus doesn't really seem to care. The priest further adds that he has been tasked with waiting here timelessly and recording everything until his services are needed again. All Unus sees is the bright and glowing gem in the priest's headgear, and before long he takes it from him. It is the opal of Azymandas, and the priest is livid, demanding that it is handed back. Of course, Unus didn't come all the way here to give away the riches that he found. The priest gives out a grim warning that Unus the Untouchable might be powerful enough, but nobody is untouchable to the mighty Lord Apocalypse. Meanwhile, Unus is only concerned about the value of this glowing nugget, and clearly, he has no idea about the power of the opal of Azymandas, or its cosmic significance. We then get a quick flash of Apocalypse, who has chosen to face the X-Men when they are the most vulnerable during the 1990s. Back to the future, it is revealed that Apocalypse had foreseen all of this, and Unus did not really spring a surprise. The only reason Apocalypse allowed Unus to get this far is because he wanted to gain the power that he lacks to passport to the dimension of time. Back in 1995, we see Apocalypse laying it out in clear terms that the destruction of his Lazarus chamber can no longer harm him at all. It is simply a waste of time, and as he points out, his time is of great significance. As for the X-Men and their universe in the 90s, time has apparently run out. It is rather chaotic if you ask me. I mean, the story in the third issue keeps jumping back and forth in time, in order to give you some context. Clearly, Apocalypse is not going to be successful in the 90s, but his reign is far from over. You see, it was all a part of his backup plan, and now his priest springs into action as Apocalypse needs his service again. Clan Aqaba will see to it that the grand plans of Apocalypse are executed, and I have a feeling that Unus might be a key tool here. So far, he doesn't have a clue about how important he has just become, but something tells me that he might even be used as a vessel for Apocalypse. Unus is not just walking away with the opal of Ozymandias without consequences. Where does the comic series stand with respect to the show narrative? Well, firstly, we are not done yet, and this is only the third issue that we have so far. As for X-Men 97, the story has moved beyond some of the things that we have seen in this comic series. For instance, the actions of Nathan after his parents head back to their original timeline is largely off-screen so far, and I don't know if Season 2 will change that. As for Unus raiding the Temple of Apocalypse, we will have to wait and see if any future episodes delve into this narrative. But the key takeaway here is that the narrative of the comics is purely about building more context. For instance, I can already assume some of the things that the X-Men will have to face during the 90s, and also, Apocalypse is not winning the victory over them that he seeks right now. It really is the classic case of an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object. As for the artwork of the comic series, I have to admit I am rather impressed because it gives off a strong 90s vibe. The extended pages, the cool action sequences really stand out, and I am looking forward to the next issue to continue the nail-biting saga. I would love to hear your take in the comments below about what you think of this comic series and its relevance with the events of the show. Also, if you appreciate the efforts to bring you this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more such videos.